Well, hello. Once again, you have found a Texas Steampunk connection. I am broadcasting to you throughout the multiverse, themeverse, whatever you want to call it, from our various bunkers and airships. I am Flavio, aka Dammit Flavio. Every once in a while, Major Dammit Flavio. With me, as always, is Thax, Gentleman Adventurer.
Hello, hello.
And once again, joining us today because Jack was unable to make it for various reasons. I'm sure he's probably out there trying to bring up his bounty. Is probably what he's out there trying to do. You never know. But with us today, instead of Jack, is once again Master BlueStocking from the Steampunk Dollhouse podcast. Or Dollhouse Steampunk? I forgot. My mind just went blank. Sorry about that.
Dollhouse.
I was right the first time. Yeah, Steampunk Dollhouse.
On an extended hiatus.
Extended hiatus. Don't worry.
Welcome back to BlueStocking. It is always good to see you.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. On such short notice, once again, I blame Jack, not Thax.
No worries. I'm on spring break this week, so.
Awesome. Oh, spring break. Awesome.
Yeah. Perfect
timing then. Once again, we're continue with the tradition of replacing Jack with a better looking person.
I'll do my best.
It's not difficult, trust me. I'm sorry, Jack.
Spring break means so very little at this particular juncture when most of us are staying home away from other people, despite what our governor has suggested we do.
It was spring break last year when everything went to shit. We got 2 weeks had spring break, and then they extended it for another week, and then they're like, classes online, not going back. So yeah, this is our 1-year anniversary.
Wow. Wow. It has been one full year of this pandemic. Craziness. Wow.
Well, you remember 3 weeks ago when we were all freezing to death?
That was insane. That was freaking insane.
That was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, global warming is real, people.
Yeah.
Did you lose power, water, any of that stuff?
We did not lose water, but we were luckier than a lot of people because we were on the rolling starting around 3 a.m. Monday morning. Our power went out. And so all day Monday, it would go out for an hour and a half, come back for 30 minutes maybe, and then go out again. But by Tuesday, we had been on pretty steady. So we didn't have the rolling like everybody else did. Ours was a lot. And we have a gas stove. So it made it a lot easier. Yeah, it made it. But the boil notice, that Thursday of that week, we got the boil water notice. Mm-hmm. And you don't realize how much water you use until you're having to boil it for everything, for the cats, for cooking, for everything. So yeah, I got the boil notice just before. I mean, actually, I almost gave my cats. I started pouring the cats some water, and I realized that's not the right color for water. So I had to go back, and luckily I had some bottled water, so I gave them some of that. So I spoiled my cats by giving them bottled water for a couple of days.
I heard that. Flavio, your water changed color?
It was very cloudy, almost milk looking.
Yeah, it's weird, and it was weird and cloudy, and it was gross. Yeah, wow. We just happened to have a huge bucket of bottled water left over from our wedding 2 years ago, so we were I never used it, and so it came in handy.
Luckily there's probably no expiration date on that kind of water, I think.
It's just bottled water. But my sister-in-law actually bought me a backup generator for my birthday, so
wow.
If this happens again, we have power, and hopefully it'll be
awesome.
Okay. Yeah,
it's like I don't think I wasn't part of the rollouts either. I just lost power for 48 hours straight, and that was it. And then it came back on after that. So
a lot of people did. It was weird.
Yeah, and like I said,
equitable.
No, but it's like I said, I spent last time. It was like I'm halfway through the second day before the power came on. It was so cold in here. I picked up one of my cats, and he was shivering. My cat was shivering. Yeah. So I decided that's it. I got to go. Luckily, I had a friend of mine who still had water and power, and I packed up my cats and my roommate, and we bugged out to my friend's place, and we stayed there for a couple of days because once we were there, even though I got power back onto the house, couldn't leave because the streets were frozen, couldn't drive. So
yep.
So we stayed there for a couple of days.
Thax, were you okay?
We got notice that there were going to be rolling blackouts. Okay, we're prepared for that. So it doesn't sound so bad. And then
60 hours later,
it went out, and we didn't see power come back on for another 2.5 days.
Oh.
And our house held heat pretty well. But there's only so much it can do. We dug our fireplace out because we'd never use it because we live in Texas.
Yeah.
So we had furniture in front of it. We covered it up with like bookshelves because that's how we do. So we moved that stuff out of the way. And last summer, a tree fell on my house, which we thought was bad at the time. But now we have a bunch of firewood.
There you go.
It sustained us. And so we were huddled in front of the fireplace, boiling water in the fireplace and doing any cooking we could there. We never lost water, which was super lucky. We had it dripping everywhere. Haven't gotten that bill yet, but that should be in the mail here any day now.
Yeah.
I just got a letter from my brother in Huntsville prison. So he survived to send me a letter, but they lost power and water, and they couldn't go outside to get snow or boil it or anything. They just had to huddle under their blankets, wearing every piece of clothing that they could, and fill the bucket in the corner.
Yeah.
It sounds like a living hell. But
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a good situation, and I don't know. There's ways that it could have been handled better. I mean, I know this is Texas. I know this never happens, but I lived in Pennsylvania for 8 years where it got that cold every winter, and I never dealt with anything like that. Yeah.
Well, because winters like that almost every year, they're pretty much prepared for it and know how to handle it.
But I mean, it happened here in 2011. We had
that, not to this extent, though. But it's for this long.
Yeah.
Any further discussion in this direction, we're going to get political.
Sorry.
I'm not saying we shouldn't. There's some unfortunate truths to discuss, but that's where it's going to go.
Right. Well, in that case, it's the Vert Hole. Hello, Rita. Thank you for joining us again. Looks like you're right now the only person watching this. Looks like either Vi Sci-Fi or Rita dropped. Desiree Thorpe, a person I don't think I've seen us join us, has said BlueStocking is amazing and properly logged off because there's only one person watching us at this point.
Desiree is in my cohort. She's one of my friends.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you for popping in and saying hello, even though she's probably not watching anymore. But
I believe she'll come back.
There she is. She is back. So maybe Rita's gone. Somebody left us. Oh, well. Oh, no, wait. 5 people are watching this. I'm sorry. I'll look at the wrong number. My bad. There are 5 people watching us. Well, hello. Thank you for joining us.
Flavio's the only one who gets to see this information. The rest
there's 5 people. Yeah. There are 5. I don't know who's watching this. I just know there's 5 people watching this. They have to make a comment for me to know who they are. Matt Davis, hello. Yes, my number count was wrong.
That's my husband.
Oh, hello. Well, at least he corrected himself on the your.
Well, let's get to drinking.
Yes. There must be a small delay, obviously, because now they're correcting me. Yes, there are 5 people watching. 6 people now. Okay, yes. Let's go to the podcast within a podcast I like to call Drinking with Friends. Unfortunately, today I was such in a hurry. I went to HEB and I bought my dinner and everything, and I just forgot to buy a beer. So I'm just stuck drinking regular old soda. I'm drinking the Diet Dr. B from HEB. I used to love Dr. Pepper. And then my sugar levels got way out of line. And so I went to Diet Dr. Pepper. Then I decided, Dr. B is just as good and cheaper. So I'm drinking this. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I stand by HEB brands. I think they are at least as good as the name brands.
Yes, especially the HEB brands, the Dr. B stuff, which I think I like them a lot. How about you, Thax? What are you drinking?
I, at HEB, in the single beer section.
That's right. That's right. You should get my beers.
Yeah. I got something crazy called Smoothie.
Smoothie? What is that?
What's that?
And you'll see a blender filled with angry orange juice or something in there with That's a vanilla. That's a chunk of vanilla there, and
Okay.
an orange screaming on the other side. It's all very artistic,
Very
and
graphic.
adorable.
Yes.
Whew. Okay, so that is what I got. It's from the Brewing Project, Smoofy Sour. It's a sour ale with mango, cinnamon, cardamom, and vanilla.
Is it an actual beer or a hard liquor? What is that?
It's a sour ale.
Sour ale. Okay.
Okay, so I poured it into a glass, and it looks like orange mango juice. It's thick. So this is weird.
Is it good?
Have you tried it
I
yet?
don't know.
Okay, we'll find out right now.
Mango.
Was
Um,
not sour enough to make you pucker.
I like it. It tastes strongly of mango and the same texture, sort of a puree. It doesn't taste. It's not very beer forward.
So more like a juice with alcohol in it.
Yeah. It's
This is something that has been in the back of the refrigerator for too long. Throw it out. And he said, "No, I can drink it. It's still good."
it's fine. There's a lot of things in the back of the refrigerator that are still good. This is weird though. It is a little strange. It's like a fruit smoothie with a little beerness to it.
Beerness to it.
You're not really selling it.
I'm just reporting the news. I bought it for the label.
Didn't we? I mean, at one point at Rognus, we would have like beer. What was it? The beer and orange juice mix. What's that? Instead of a beer mosas. Yeah. Is anything like a beer mosa?
A beer mosa has got more beer in it.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, a beer mosa is like a breakfast beverage. You take your like a pale ale or a Hefeweizen, and you pour about 4 ounces of orange juice into it.
Yes.
You could even use an IPA if you wanted, if that was the sort of thing you're into. And that orange juice, that citrus acid, sort of cuts the hoppiness down, and it's really nice. It's a
I prefer them with a Hefeweizen.
beer, and you can drink it before noon and not feel guilty.
That's right. How about you, BlueStocking? Have you drink anything today?
Please excuse the monster in my lap.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Angry Orchard. Chris
Angry
Baffle.
Orchard.
I love Angry Orchard. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. So I get the big variety pack. And this is Brax, by the way, who is making his debut.
Hello, kitty.
Yes,
Yeah.
Rax is a cat for our listeners.
Yes, yeah, that's right. This is
Sorry.
not just a this is not just a video live.
Sorry.
This will be going
It's
up in our podcast feed. Although I have not yet put in last episodes on the podcast feed because I am behind schedule because of the freeze. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not being lazy at all. No. Okay, so that ends Drinking with Friends, the podcast within a podcast. So I guess we should move on. Let's go ahead and I guess we'll talk about our homework. I have a few things. First off, I'm going to go ahead and start off with some updates. Originally, at one point, I talked about a comic book called Miskatonic. Yeah. So this is number 4. Episode 4 has come out. Well, not episode. Issue 4 has come out. It is a 5-issue limited series, so there's one more and it'll be over. So far, it's really been a fun story. There's a mystery going on. There's a creepiness going on. Female FBI agent, and who's basically, if it was the X-Files, she'd be like Scully. She doesn't believe.
Okay.
And her partner is like, the other guy. Forgot his name now. Anyway, Mulder, yes, who believe. Yes. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it, and I can't wait for the end. And the other one I reported on, the number 1 came out. Number 2 is now out, called the picture of everything else. Basically, the story of the artist who painted Dorian Gray. He has expanded his powers, and whatever he paints, he can affect. At the end of this issue, he painted the city. I believe it was London, and then he accidentally dropped a bubble. He dropped some like a drop of paint on it, red paint, and the sky turned red in London. So I mean, he's pretty powerful. So they're having to deal with that right now.
If he had been drinking coffee and spilled it, no one would notice.
Exactly.
That sounds
So, I
cool,
mean,
though.
it's actually pretty good. To start off the first issue, he would paint a portrait of somebody, and whatever he did to the portrait, like tear it or burn it, what would happen to the person. So he was killing people that way. Rather gruesome. And now for another comic that I found last week, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. Share screen. Okay, this one is called Steambound. Now, however, I read it. I don't see anything steampunk about it, regardless, despite the name. The art is okay. I think I might have seen like one thing in the background that looked kind of steampunkish in there. But otherwise, it's just like a fantasy story in a crazy fantasy city. I'm going to read this for the people who are not watching live. Pandora. It is easy to get lost on the streets of the megacities. Like our protagonist, Hound. Jaeger and Alice have raised together and linked by friendship and spider addiction. That's a drug, I'm assuming. Hound is a knight of the orders to restrict the council, while Jaeger, genetically modified, works for the city's criminal cartels. Alice's request for help will force the group to join again. See, I didn't get any of that reading this. There was no indication that this guy was part of some council. There was no indication this other guy was part of a criminal cartel. And Alice didn't show up until the very last page. And it was very, I don't really say this much. I didn't like it. It like every third page, it felt like I just walked into a middle of a conversation, not knowing what the hell they're talking about.
Wow. Flavio, you like everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like this. It was very, I couldn't figure out what was happening. The scenes just kept jumping. The conversations kept changing. Like I said, I couldn't tell. I just kept feeling like I kept walking into a conversation. It's like, huh? What are you talking about? And they would just go on. Then like you're flicking channels almost to different, or I don't know if it was time jumping or they were just like trying to change scenes. I don't know. It was so confusing. I didn't get it. There was a giant monster somehow thrown in there. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Not the way you've got.
Oh, that's right. Because I'm sharing the screen. That's right. Duh. I've been doing this for I don't know how long. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. All right. So for some reason there's this giant crazy monster that was thrown in here. I don't know if you can see that.
It looks like an angry teddy bear.
Yeah, it kind of was, and it's kind of I don't know. I don't know why that was there. I don't know what happened or what pissed it off or why is it chasing anybody. It was just confusing as hell. Even though it's called Steambound, I saw nothing steampunkish. It was more very, very not medieval, just fantasy, a general fantasy, maybe even sci-fi mix, but mostly fantasy because there was like alien-looking things in here. People like that weren't exactly human, but I don't know. They could have been some kind of like ogres or orcs, but they could have been aliens. I don't know.
Maybe they had a spider addiction.
Yeah, I don't know what spider addiction is, other than I think it's a drug.
Spider addiction back in college.
You like spiders, huh? I think in like, I don't know. I think they showed him taking a drug in one of these panels.
And that was the first issue?
Yeah, first issue from Behemoth Comics. I read a lot of comics, so I know how to follow a story in a comic book, even when they're trying to be different. But this,
to your credit, sometimes they're kind of convoluted. But,
yeah, well, this is convoluted convolution. I don't know what happened in this book. I really don't. It's just there's only one comic before this in the past that I hated even more, and it was actually called. really long. God Hates Astronauts. It was a comic book. The first issue was so bad. It's like, that's the only one I hate worse. This comic, I don't want it. I don't leak. I'm surprised. I want to get rid of it. You want this comic? So, does not deserve to be in my collection.
He's going to be setting it on fire later.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, so don't waste your time with it. Don't even look at it. Don't look for it. It's not steampunk. And even if it was steampunk, I can't tell what's going on. I don't know what's happening with this comic.
Wow.
Damn.
And it was $3.99, so I wasted $4 on it.
Want my money back?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty pricey for a comic. Usually they're $2.99. Okay. I think I'm done ranting about that. Whew. So there's my. I feel a little bit better, but man, I couldn't stand that comic. All right, I'm once again going to share the screen. I have one more thing I'm going to talk about briefly. Share the screen one more time. Share screen. People have probably heard of this. Some people maybe even watched it, but I'm going to go. I found it on Hulu. The Murdoch Mysteries. Not Matlock. I know you mentioned Matlock. Not Matlock. Murdoch Mysteries. It's about a detective back in the early 1900s, and he's basically using the newer techniques for like figuring out crimes, like matching bullets to the gun, blood spatter. He's more modern day forensics back in the day. The only reason I call it's tangentially steampunk because in the very first episode, Tesla was in it because somebody was killed through electricity. So Tesla actually made an appearance.
That's unfair. That's Edison's shtick.
Well, it was somebody trying to discredit Tesla's work, and they were going to electrocute a dog. Huh?
That's also Edison's shtick.
That's Edison's thing too.
Well, they didn't mention. I don't know if they mentioned Edison, but they're just trying to sell. Anyway, but they were going to do a demonstration where they were going to electrocute an animal, and the lady who pulled the switch actually it shocked her and killed her instead. So that was the mystery: who did it and why. And he solved it, of course. The newest, I only seen like 4 episodes so far. I've enjoyed them. The newest episode actually had Sir Arthur Conan Doyle show up because he's looking at the spiritualism. And of course, there was a murder that had to do with a spiritualist, and they solved that crime. They're just typical crimes, but I honestly, right there where it says power, that's Tesla right there on the episode 1. Elementary, My Dear Murdoch. That's where Sir Arthur Conan Doyle showed up. So it may not be straight up steampunk, but it's pretty close. It's the right time period. There's some good things going on. And one of them was they had like the first motorized bicycles. They have a female doctor who's doing the autopsies. So I'm enjoying them. So I don't know if they're straight up steampunk, but they're good enough for me. So they're close. They fit 2 out of the 3 criteria that we threw in there for the most part. The time period, the aesthetic, and I don't know about the punk part, but other than he's using techniques that no one's heard of, and Tesla. Tesla made an appearance, so there you go. How much more steampunk can you get than that? Tesla makes it steampunk. You heard it from the doctor. You heard it from the master steampunk herself. So that's my homework. How about you, Thax? What do you have?
I enjoyed your ranting. I don't
Thank
get to do that all that often.
Yeah, that comic was anyway.
Okay, all right. Here's my my homework for the show. Let's see how I do this. Sure. Push that button. Push that button. Push that button. Push that button.
Aha! I'll now push this button. Drunk octopus wants to fight you.
I saw it keeps coming across my news feed this week, so I thought I would share it with you. Not this. This is a picture of a code hook that says "Drunken Octopus wants to fight," which is funny. But
Yes, I've seen that many
what I
times. It
really
is funny.
want to talk about is this headline on Science Alert, but I've also seen it on the Smithsonian website and some other places. But some bored scientists have harassed cephalopod to force it to take this cognitive test for little kids. And the cuttlefish, the cephalopod in question, was able to do it. They have actually got about a half dozen of these, and they were all able to pass the marshmallow test. If you're not familiar with it,
Yeah, I was about to ask, what is the marshmallow test?
well, let me tell you. Stanford developed the marshmallow test to test children's cognitive ability. They sit a kid down with a marshmallow. Here's a marshmallow. You can eat that marshmallow, or if you wait 15 minutes and not eat the marshmallow, we give you a second marshmallow, and you can have both of them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it seems pretty simple, but it's for small children, and it's to
Now, I'm assuming that when they put the marshmallow down, they tell the child the options, right? It's like you can eat it or wait.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
so are you telling me that they talked to this cuttlefish, telling them you can wait?
Yes, they gave him a marshmallow. No, they had to adjust the test a little bit.
Okay.
They had I guess like a door with some food in it, and another door that was closed but had some better food in it.
Oh.
And they trained the cuttlefish to understand that door will open after a certain amount of time. In this case, what did they say?
Unless if they did not eat the other food, right?
Right. They only could go through one of the two doors. And if they went through the one door, then they take the food away from the other door. So I don't know if how many times they gave them the test before they considered it effective.
Figured it out. Yeah.
But the cuttlefish had to wait somewhere between 10 and 130 seconds to have access to the better food. But they were able to do it. These cuttlefish proved that they were cognitively intelligent enough to wait for the good food, which apparently shows some cognitive ability, and that it is more than maybe what is expected of a typical fish. Here it goes. It says, it seems like the cuttlefish can exert self-control, all right, but why is not clear. The species such as parrots, primates, corvids, like crows, and that sort of thing, also can pass this test. They know how to delay gratification, linked to factors like tool use, food catching, and social competence. But the scientists suggest that the cuttlefish doesn't use those things. They don't use tools, and they're generally unsocial.
Wait a minute.
They don't get along with each other terribly well. But they do. They don't cache their food. They don't hoard it. But they do perhaps use this ability to hunt, to wait for the best food to come before they pounce on it. Right? They don't just they camouflage themselves when they forage, so they don't expose themselves to predators, or they don't want to blow their cover until they find the food that they want, the best food. This was just an interesting example of the intelligence of cephalopods, and that's why I'm bringing it up to the steampunk thing, because
I've seen instances of
octopuses go together.
Yeah, I've seen like stories of octopuses like escaping out of things. Just like
they're escape artists.
Yeah, they're escape artists.
Now,
if they can get out of cages, they can get out of a lot of things.
Yeah.
This study made me, search just 5 minutes more on Google. And although this test was for cuttlefish, they are very closely related to octopuses. which have bigger brains, particularly big brains for a non-mammal, and they're super clever. There's stories of them, breaking out of their cages, going into other cages, eating all the fish, going back to their own cage, and hiding the evidence.
That's the crazy part. They hide the evidence.
That is super interesting. Now, obviously, that's not a scientific test, but it's an observation that's been made.
Definitely,
they do use tools, unlike the cuttlefish. They talk about how they build little shells for themselves, little houses that they carry around with them for safety and probably for hiding. So they are tool users, which was interesting because it was mentioned in the previous article. And this really threw me. They have the ability to recognize human faces and, get opinions of different human beings. And I remember hearing about this story, not in this article, but somewhere in the internet. Somebody found an octopus that was dying on the beach, and they gathered it up and took it back into the ocean to save it. And the octopus regained its strength and was saved, but also hung out at the beach with the person that sort of nursed it back and hung out with them.
Nice.
And then that person, at the end of the day, went home from the beach, and they came back another day, and the octopus came back.
Aww.
And hung out with them again. Obviously, that octopus isn't just like hanging out with everybody. I assume.
There were no reports of him hanging out with anybody else.
Right. And so that was, that's just hearsay. I don't know what was going on in the octopus's weird big brain, but it was fascinating. Octopuses have a lot of strange, mysterious ways that we do not understand. They are the most, I'm sure you've heard it before if you've come across octopus. They're weird and alien.
Yes.
But with this cognitive test, that's just one step closer for us to understand a little bit more of what they are capable of, what kind of intelligence they have. So that's what I wanted to bring up. I thought that was really cool.
Now, I know, there's octopus and then there's squid. Now, is there anything, I don't know if are squid just as smart or are they just monstrous? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them,
I don't know. I'm
that's a good
certainly
question.
not an expert on cephalopods.
Well, why aren't you? You were supposed to be studying that. No, I'm kidding. Well, get on that for next time. Okay. Squid, just as smart or not as octopus?
I don't hear as much about squid interactions with humans. I think aside from taking down enormous ships in the deep sea, or murdering sharks, which are interesting stories, but they don't really give us an indication of their motives.
So they're here be monsters. Is that what they are? So that's what the sailor's talking about. Here be monsters. I remember reading the 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. It wasn't in the movies. They always show a big squid or somebody attack the Kraken attacking, but in the book it was actually a pod of octopi that attacked them, almost like they were boarding their ship, like like they were pirates or something. They attacked them.
Octopirates?
Yeah, I guess. That was one of the most exciting things in that book, for the most part. Otherwise, I remember talking about that book. It was the boring, very, very boring book. By today's standards, I guess. Because back then, like I said before, it was basically a step-by-step journey of, okay, we went this direction for this many leagues. I saw these fish, I saw these plants, blah blah. And then if you had a map, you can map out where he went, by what he was saying, because I think he was even going longitude and latitude. He was writing it all in there, So, like I said, and there's like some of the occasions, like I said, what they got out, they went walking in the water with their dive suits and everything, and they climbed an underwater mountain, which I'm not sure why they did that. When they have a boat, they could have gone a little higher, or a submarine, they could have gone a little higher toward the top of the mountain. But the entire time he's walking up there, he's describing, he sees this kind of fish here and that kind of fish there and that kind of plant and this, describing everything you see on the way up. They get to the top, they look over the edge. Hey, look, it's Atlantis, and then they turn around and go back. It's like, they don't show. They don't say anything else about Atlantis other than there it was. It's like,
yeah, well, that's no hope. It's like funny that you mentioned the group of octopuses, octopi, excuse me, attacking the ship together. That is an entirely un-octopus thing to do.
Yeah, because you said they weren't very friendly with each other.
They're antisocial. Yeah. They don't want to hang out with each other.
They're not pack creatures.
Yeah.
No. They barely get together for making more octopi.
Yeah, like I said, that's what I remember in the book. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wasn't squid that attacked them, because they were actually, they were octopi. Like I said, they attacked en masse. It was kind of great. They were slightly larger than normal octopi, so they were giant, but they weren't like the huge ones that they show in the movies. But that's all I remember about the book for the most part. I read it because I said I was going to read it, and
I remember your review. It was not your favorite book.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure back then it was exciting for anybody, because they don't have TV back then, so that, hey, this guy's there's that kind of fish in the sea, and I guess back then I can understand why they enjoyed it back in the past. But now,
and Jules Verne was a big believer in science. So for back then, the science in his work was very new and very cutting edge, and so it would have been really exciting. To today's audiences, not so much, but yeah, back then it would have been marvelously exciting. So, our tastes change.
Well, I'm sorry. Hello, Alan. I just saw your question. Time traveling to Sherwood Forest Fair this year. I'm not sure. I'm still slightly dubious about the plague. I have not got my vaccine yet, so I don't know. So I'll see.
Erica and I were talking about it ourselves, and I think it's great that Sherwood is still stating that you have to wear a mask at all times, that you're not sitting and eating or something. But it occurred to us that it's not really enforceable if enough people are going to say, well, we're just not going to do it. And
yeah,
I half expect that to happen at Sherwood or TRF, or
especially at TRF, I think.
Yeah, any place in large groups in this state, there's a lot of people who really don't believe in masks, and I'm still not comfortable with being around those people. So,
yeah, I have been vaccinated, and I've gotten both my shots now, and I'm still
awesome.
Going to wear. The mask is not coming off. I'm still adhering to that, because I'm protected, but I could still pass it on to someone else. I could still have it and pass it on. So,
yeah, I saw it. I mean, it hasn't even, like, the mandate's supposed to go into effect tomorrow, I believe, but it was last week.
Yeah.
Last week already. I was at a Dollar General. No, was it? I was at a store working, and a lady walked in, and she was asked to put on a mask, and she goes, "Well, the governor said we don't have to." It was lady, and the man was like, "I'm sorry, ma'am, that's next week." It's like, he was polite about it. He goes, "That's not until next week, ma'am," and so she put a mask on, but she's already saying, we don't have to, so it's already started.
Well, and it's still up to the businesses too, because a lot of the places here in Denton, they've been putting out Facebook posts that they will continue to adhere to, because the businesses can do what they want.
Right.
And
Exactly.
it's,
I mean, it's like
there's
the whole
gonna be problems.
like the whole no shoes, no shirt, no service situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
No shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service kind of situation.
Yeah.
They can add that. It's their prerogative. Prerogative. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. I
The
speak
issue
English.
The issue becomes, how big a snit are you going to, put up with in your store when someone comes in who just outright refuses.
And they're throwing a fit and blowing
Yeah.
germs all over.
They're
Well, then they get to go on. They can get to be filmed and be online and shown as a jerk or stupid idiot or whatever. Like
Amen.
if you want to throw a snit, then you're going to have to suffer the consequences and being pointed out as a stupid idiot, or whatever.
Well, they've spewed filth all over your entire store.
Well, I was reading about a Mexican restaurant. I think it's either Houston or Austin that is going to adhere to their, masks indoors, and they're already getting threats from people saying that they're going to call ICE on the wait staff.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
not
So
surprised.
that's awesome. Yeah, they're just masks. It's just
I know.
Not
People
a
are
big
idiots. Yeah, don't be a crybaby about it, man. Just wear a mask. What's the problem? Well, there's actually a question here for BlueStocking that actually lead right into her. Well, I'm gonna say homework, but it wasn't really her homework. Just basically, have you run into a have you run into a book comparable to The Difference Engine by Gibson/Sterling? So,
a book comparable to The Difference Engine. Well, I mean, The Difference Engine is an alternate history. It's a counterfactual. So there's a lot of steampunk books that do alternate history.
Mhm.
It just kind of depends on what you're looking for. I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean when you say like Difference Engine. Are you looking for something that's alternative history? Are you looking for computers and trains and computing machines like Difference Engine had, or are you just looking for, I don't know, like that's a hard question because like I said, there's a lot of stuff out there. It just depends on I'd need more specifics on what you're looking for. I mean, like the one that I've been spending a lot of time with right now is Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. It's an alternative history of the Civil War with zombies, but it's steampunk and it's really brilliant because I'm writing a couple of papers on it and I'm giving a presentation about it in May.
Oh, cool.
And it was actually the last real episode I did of my show was about Dread Nation, but it's about zombies rising up from the fields of Gettysburg. And so what ends up happening is the slaves are freed, but young Black women are sent to schools where they are trained to protect white families from the zombies. They're sent to, they're literally being trained as shields to protect white people from the zombies. And so it's very exciting. The main character is what? You're making a face. What?
That sounds fascinating to me. They're taking Black women, slaves, women, and training them into a warrior caste. What could possibly go wrong?
Essentially, they're taking these newly freed young women, and they have to be sent to these schools where they will be trained, and they're trained in everything. They're trained in weapons, they're trained in etiquette, they're trained how to dance, because their best chance of surviving is to be hired as an attendant by one of the wealthier families. But it just talks about how there are schools where they're trained for 6 months and they're sent out into the meat grinder, basically, or you can get into one of the good schools where you can actually learn how to save your life. And so it brings up a lot of connotations of, well, okay, I don't want to get, we don't want to delve into politics, but it's very applicable to,
I mean,
well, it's the idea that Black women are going to save us, kind of like Stacey Abrams and Black female voters in Georgia. And this idea that white women in my demographic can't seem to vote for their own interests. And so we need other people to save us. And that's kind of where the book goes, that these young women are saving everybody. They are keeping people alive at the cost of their own life. And it's finding, trying to get away from that and trying to find a better life, and issues of colorism come in because there's a very, very light-skinned young woman named Catherine in the book, and the main character Jane is very dark, and so Catherine has a better chance of getting into of being attendant to a white family because she's so fair-skinned. She can pass, and so there's issues of that. It's just, like I said, I know it's zombies in the Civil War, but it's really topical, and there's no horses anymore because the zombies ate all the horses. Oh, so they have iron steam horses that take people everywhere. Yeah, it's steampunk. It's really exciting. It's very good. It's very good on a surface level, but it's also really good on a deeper level. So
that sounds like good writing.
It's called Dread. The first one is called Dread Nation, and then the sequel is Deathless Divide, and they're by Justina Ireland. And the covers are gorgeous. If you ever wanted to see something made into a TV show, it would be this book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the audiobooks are fantastic too. The narrator is wonderful. So highly recommend. Like I said, I'm writing a pop scholarship piece about it that I'm going to try to get pitched to LitHub or one of those sites. And then I'm writing a 15-page paper about it and then doing a presentation on it.
Oh, and Justina Ireland is a writer of color.
She is. Yes. Yep.
So I was looking fairly recently for sci-fi writers of color, particularly steampunk authors of color, and I just didn't know where to start.
P. DeJelly Clark is a really good one too. Fenderson DeJelly. He, if you look up Ring Shout or Dead Jin and Kyra, I can send you a list.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, Pete Shelley Clark is a really good one. Neezy Shaw, of course, if you've read Everfair. Everfair is a very good one. Some people have trouble with Everfair because there's a lot of different points of view in the book. It jumps from one person to the next. Yeah, we did it in my class, and some people had problems with if you have a problem with too many characters, it may be not your thing, but it's really, really good. So I can send you a list of some stuff.
Yes, please do. I know you. I mean, because you've been. I mean, you're like I like to say you're the master of steampunk right now because you do have a master's degree.
My master's degree is in library science, though.
With emphasis on steampunk, right?
My PhD has the emphasis on steampunk.
Oh, okay. So you'll be a doctor steampunk or Dr. BlueStocking
someday in years
in the future. Soon to be doctor of steampunk. You are what I call our current resident expert of steampunk at the moment. If anybody knows,
someone takes issue with that and challenges me, and I can't answer a question.
Let them challenge. You don't have to answer. I mean, if the person challenging you also has a master's, then maybe there can be a talk down. But if they don't have a master's, then they don't need to say anything.
I'm just putting out the best info I can.
That's all we need.
You can do.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just making my own opinion, like this one stupid Steambound book.
Oh, he's still mad.
Yes.
It's so bitter.
It's staring at me. It's just standing there staring at me. And like I said, I found there's plenty. I'm really surprised at how often I do run across comic books that are very steampunk. Like one of the nicest ones I found was the Cantu, the little Clockwork Knight. It's very so far. There's been three different storylines come out, and they're very age appropriate. I mean, they're all ages. So I mean, if you have a child who likes that, it's really nice storytelling. It's almost very fairy tale like. You know, there's the bad guys, and there could be maybe, and depending on how sensitive your child are, it shouldn't be that scary because it's an all ages book. But there are, the bad guys are of course bad guys, But it's a fun little book, a fun little adventure book of a little Clockwork Knight going around saving things, saving people, saving his people. It's really
graphic
fun.
Novels and anime are a really good platform for steampunk. They really. I don't know if you've seen Princess Principal on Amazon.
I have.
Did you like it?
Yes, I did. I really enjoyed it.
We watched, like the first 3 episodes or so.
Yeah, there's not many.
I watched the whole the whole series.
Oh, I didn't get through the whole series just because I'm doing other things. But they were fun. They were a lot of fun.
They're so good. Yeah, I was looking up because there's so many H.G. Wells references in there, and so I started Googling everything, trying to figure out all the references. Yeah, it was good. They were supposed to make another one, but I don't think they ever did.
Yeah, Princess Principal. In case anybody who hasn't heard about it, it is basically an adventure. There's like kind of like a prince and a pauper kind of situation where they switch places, and then she falls in with some adventurers, and it's just a fun. There's a bunch of gadgets, and they're running around fighting crimes and evil things. It's just fun. It's just fun. There's intrigue and spies and stuff. Yeah,
magical steampunk girls.
But yeah, it's a fun show. I recommend it. I just recently discovered one that apparently everyone else already knew about, and it was what was it? My mind just went blank on me. The delivering people from they fly to the delivery service in their little airplanes. I don't know. My mind just went blank on me.
And it's Steampunk.
You when I mentioned it, you got everyone. You and Jack went, "Oh yeah!" What was that?
Yeah. It's an anime.
Yeah, it's an anime.
Not Steam Boy.
No, not Steam Boy. Let me see if I can find it here. Last Exile. Yeah.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. It's The Last Exile. I've only watched like 6 episodes of it. Oops. Stop. What is going on here?
They fly around and if you could imagine like a prop plane, but no prop and no wings, but it flies around.
It's somehow magically steam powered. Yeah.
Okay. What's it on?
Hulu.
Okay.
The Last Exile, yeah. It was pretty fun. But like I said, I discovered it and I brought it up, and then both him and Jack were like, "Oh yeah, we know that one." It's like, "Oh, thanks, you didn't tell me about it." It's like, that was funny. I thought I found something new, but nope, it was old.
It was new for you.
Yeah, new for me. Like I said, that's why I'm really so happy and surprised. Like I said, I'm finding so many comic books that are pretty much brand new coming out that are very steampunk adjacent, if not straight up steampunk, like the Kantu. And like I said, there's the story, the picture, everything else, Mesotonic. There's been so many others that have been out, and I'm finding them at least every other week because every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day. Yeah. But not every Wednesday a new steampunk comic comes out, but at least once a month a new steampunk comic of some kind comes out, and it's pretty cool.
Now, here's my question: are you going to give the next issue of that one that you hate so much a chance? Are you?
Oh hell no!
You're not going to hate read it?
Nope. Like I said, even though I don't know why it's called Steambound, I have no clue. There was nothing steampunk about it.
Go.
Nah, not worth it. Not worth it. I'm not going to waste another $4.
That's a little pricey for.
Yeah, not going to do it. I do not recommend it. I just pretend like I never. It doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
Just about it.
Out of my life. Be gone, evil comic.
I do wonder, what are you supposed to do with comics and books that you've run across and you read and you don't like them?
I donate them.
Yeah,
or sell them to recycle. Yeah, we've got a big
sucker some other poor sap to read them.
Yeah, we've got a huge used bookstore here in town called Recycled Books, and I just pack it all up and take everything down to Recycled Books.
There you go.
Yep. Pass it on to someone else who may love it.
I just usually leave mine out, not bagged, not boarded, just outside in front of the other comics as an example to the others, not to do this as an example. You would be left out in the cold.
Wow.
I don't even remember what I did to the God Hates Astronauts comic that I hated one time. I'm sure it's somewhere in the room.
Didn't burn it to keep warm?
No, I should have.
There would have been a good time for it. Shoot.
Yeah, it would have been. Oh wow. Well, we are coming up on our hour. Thank you very so once again, I'm going to thank you once again, BlueStocking, for joining us. What was it once again? What was the name of the book again that you started talking about? Dread Nation. So yeah, I reckon
I'm looking forward to looking.
You got Faxes. Yes, I just finished reading the book I was reading, which was I talked about it last week. It was the Queen. My mind is in blank. It was steampunk Western. It was good. Had Anne Bonny in it. You know, the Dread Pirate Anne Bonny was in it.
BlueStocking. I'm reminded the last time you were on our show. I'm always taking notes on stuff that's been brought up. Because of that show and you, I ordered The King in Yellow.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Have you read it?
No.
No.
But I stare at it.
Careful, it's gonna make you lose your mind.
But
So now you're going to order another book you're not going to read.
you're having influence on me. I'm collecting a whole bunch of books, thanks to you, that I haven't read.
Then my work here's done. Because I have a stack of books that I haven't read either.
Oh, I got so many books I haven't read, and not all of them are steampunk. I do like sci-fi and fantasy as well as another kind of stuff. But I do have a stack of steampunk books I haven't read yet, and it's just so hard to choose. I get choice overload sometimes. I just sit there staring at my books. It's like, what to read next? Oh my, I don't know.
It's overstimulation, so I just wander off and play Warcraft for a while because I can't what I want to read.
Right? That's pretty much what I do. It's like, I'm going to play some games.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once again, thank you for joining us, BlueStocking. For those of you who do not know, she had a podcast called Steampunk Dollhouse, where she discussed books of sci-fi and their significance. And is it still available?
More intelligently than we do.
Yeah, it's still available. It's like I said, it's not book reviews so much as it's just me.
Right. You discuss the books.
Yeah, just a critical analysis of books that I like.
That's the word I was looking for. Critical analysis.
It's me cursing into a microphone for an hour and talking about books that I like and why these books are important. You know, if you want to read for pleasure, I don't have a problem with that. But I also like to take it, I'd like to take a deeper look at things sometimes. So
yeah, you really go much further in depth than us silly guys here.
Yeah. I'm not a book reviewer. I'm just here to let you know whether or not I think it's steampunk and whether I thought it was any good. I'm not going to go into details about the book so much, other than how bad this one was over here.
We don't have masters in library.
I have been told I suck the fun out of some of these books. So there are some people who were not happy when I started. That told me that they did not like it when I started the podcast. So.
Well, I wasn't one of those. I liked your podcast. I enjoyed your podcast. I'm glad we reached out and became friends.
Me too. Aww.
Hopefully, maybe, I don't know if Steampunk November is going to happen this year because of the plague. So. If it does happen, I hope to see you there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So once again, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, everybody. If you have any questions, comments, you can find us on Facebook, Texas Steampunk Connection. Any criticisms, you can find me somewhere on Twitter.
He's on Twitter.
I forget I don't even know what my Twitter handle is anymore. I mean, I have two. Text Team Connect. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, and I also have a personal one, which I never even look at anymore either. So I don't, because whatever, Twitter, I don't understand it, and I will continue to never understand it. Because I'm an old man.
Oh please! I told you we can have a Twitter lesson. I'll show you everything you need to know. And
I'll just stare blankly at you with my mouth drooling. What?
I
don't understand. I don't understand.
It's time for pudding.
Right, pudding.
You get
pudding have any pudding unless you eat your meat. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? So I guess that's it. So until next time, mind your gauges, everyone.